the number keeps going up. It was originally 10, then it's 15,000. Now it's 20,000. Actually, next time around, it's going to be 30 to 40,000 to solve this one business's content problems. When you're a content creator, video consultant, videographer, whatever you want to call it, if you're not going in with the mindset of, I need to ask a lot of questions and find the gaps, find the pain points, find the problems. Yeah. If you're not doing that, then you're just taking orders.
Yeah, 100%.
Like a server or a waiter, you're just taking orders and then that's it. Then the creative process follows. But if you go into the mindset of, hey, I need to find out what these people are really looking for, and applying the creative process, the creative mindset to it, you can create so many different solutions in one go. And I think this was a conversation not too long ago where somebody asked me, like, so what if I said I was going to charge somebody X amount of dollars to do a couple of videos? But then we go through the meeting, we go through the process, and they decide, hey, I want to create a few more videos. Like, how do I charge for that? And so my one solution was charge a ton right out the gate, because you're going in as a consultant to solve problems. You're not going in as a consultant or a videographer to shoot video. You're going in to solve problems. #with video. See what I did there?
Now you get it. Now I get it.
I told him, was it yesterday or the day before? Like, hey, I figured out my tagline, and it's been something I've been saying for the longest time, but it didn't click. And he was like, well, you can't keep me waiting. Like, you got to tell me what it was. And I said, well, #with video. And he never responded.
No, because I didn't know how to respond. I was like, I don't know what this means. I don't want to, maybe make sure I get it before you respond. I didn't get it. I should have just told you.
And so now you get it, where it's like, I'm going in to solve your problems with video.
You're right.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
Did you just throw up into the did what I just say cause him to throw up?
That was so good. Yeah, dude, I kind of didn't say it as beautifully as you did, but I was trying to say the same thing, that he's right. And I want to stress this, what we do. And even, again, Kevin said this too, some of this stuff has just come about in the last couple of months, because as you learn new things, that's really what's important. I think it's important, and what I was trying to say with what we did for them may never happen again, is that you don't want to just say, I saw X creator make X video, so I'm going to go. You got to figure out what their problem is and then figure out the best way to solve it, because you may not even need 3 lights every time. You may not need 2 cameras every time. You know what I mean? Vertical video is killing it right now on phone videos shot on a phone, right? Why would you, if you're going to make them $1 million either way, does it really matter? As long as you're getting the goal accomplished for them. But when you're doing things like this too, they're going to come to you still. Even if you're shooting it on a phone, you're still there to direct them. You're still there to help them with the messaging and how to implement it. And implementation is there's no point on how great it looks or how long it is. People always talk about this type of video or what they're talking about. If you don't implement it properly, it's not going to do anything for them, right?
I think I might have an idea of what you're talking about too, because I've got tons of real estate friends, and the way that they apply themselves and just how they market themselves just using their phone. They're saying, hey, this square footage housing right here, and they give educational insights based on the market that's going on, and they just keep pushing this out. And that gives me, and that puts into my mind that they are the badass. They are the one. And I have recommended a few referrals out to them, and just knowing that they'll be taken care of. And that kind of put it in my head how they're so proactive on their social media sites, just using their phones. And it's actually pretty impressive what they can do. So I think I kind of got an idea of what you're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah. And on the real estate conversation, I know so many real estate agents, realtors, and even mortgage lenders, people in that space, that they think that the basic use of a videographer is to just have them show up to a site, shoot a location, and then call it a day, and then turn something over really fast so that they can sell these homes. But if you really think about it, realtors, their margins are not as great as people want them to believe, or in a sense that the home that you're selling has to be in the 7 figures to really feel like the efforts that you put in, the marketing that you put in, the staffing that you have in place to sell that home for you to have good margins. So to bring on a videographer to shoot a location, the videographer might make $500, maybe $1,000. It all depends on the location or the home or the region. So like if you're a videographer in the West Coast in California, you're crushing it. You're making some good dough because the margins are much higher for the realtor. Whereas here in the Midwest, the homes are not as expensive and you have to sell a lot more volume, and you still have the same staffing, you have the same marketing efforts, you still have the same investments in terms of resources as a realtor, so that paying a videographer to do it is not as, it's just not as profitable for the realtor, for the videographer or the realtor.
Yeah.
So as a videographer working in real estate, and this is just my personal opinion, you have to find other ways to help solve problems for the realtor. So what are the things where the realtor, this is something that we learned over in Video Warrior. Find out what processes you can implement using video that would take a lot of the time and repetition out of the realtor's processes. So if it's answering phone calls, if it's FAQs, if it's how-to stuff, creating assets that will help ease off some of that time and energy that they are investing in that they could apply somewhere else. Maybe if they would rather focus on some of their social media stuff, but they're inundated with phone calls, answering the same old questions time and time again, when they could just say, here's a video for this. Or even automate those videos so that maybe when somebody ends up on the website, there is a process using video to guide the consumer, the customer, the visitor through the entire journey to help them get informed, to make them decide on, is this the right path for me? Is this the right person for me? Am I prepared enough to have the conversation with the realtor by the time I actually call them?
Wow. I've never thought of it like that, because that's really interesting. Because, if I were to go into real estate today, I mean, me coming from music videos, I don't know any better. But if I were to take my first step and if I were to reach out to one of my real estate agents, and say, hey, can I do a video for you? And I would have never thought about, that's how you solve their problems. Not just coming out there and selling your video, but you're a content strategist for them, know? And then that's how you build so much more value. And you only have to do this thing one time, or for them, it's just one time. So it'll just be automated from them from there. So
yeah, and something he said too that I think is important to note is that it was not just about like the videos that we create and like what we can do, but also like you touched on it and just kind of like went past, but like how much their margins are. With any business, I'm not saying that you have to do this as a video creator. What I'm saying is that just take a peek into the mind of like the things that he's thinking about when he's thinking about how to help them, because it might even help you to kind of qualify or disqualify a client for yourself, because if it's not financially responsible for them to do so, maybe you can just advise them. Maybe you're not actually creating any content, you're just helping them or coaching them through it, and then later when they do start making a little bit more money, you can. And I will say too, kind of because what you touched on, music videos, realtor and stuff like this is maybe a little bit of a different subject, but this blows my mind a little bit is what I'm saying. You could literally pick one specific industry. You could literally just work with realtors or just work with chiropractors and make a 7-figure agency out of that, creating content for them.
7-figure agency.
Yeah, I will stand by that. You're gonna because like what's crazy about it, and actually I'm borrowing this from Kevin a little bit because he's the one that said once you do a couple of these chiropractors, essentially a lot of the questions and the pain points you're speaking to are going to be the same for pretty much every chiropractor. Their voice, their tone that comes through, the personality is different, but essentially it's the same, right? So you can even like streamline the process for yourself and get it, but you don't have to just work with everyone. You can literally say, I love people in this particular market, and yeah, there's tons and tons of work out there. And coming from that, kind of coming full circle to that place of, I want to make sure I understand everything about their business, right? Not just what type of content we can create, but like what are some of the things that keep them up at night that maybe, we can help them with. That's how, that's how you're really going to provide a lot of value for them, right?
So when you say, you guys have a conversation with them and they have to be qualified, like, can you elaborate what you mean by that?
Well, yeah, because like, when you think about a client, like you can tell me right now, like what are some of the things you didn't like about working with someone? Maybe it's that you we don't even have to get into the details of that, but just think of the things that come up in your mind when you think like, I would rather not do that anymore, right? That would be something that would help you disqualify someone. Maybe it's budget. I know that's a big thing with filmmakers when you're getting started out, videographers, whatever the term is, video consultants, we'll change it now, right? But yeah, right off the bat, you may be like, man, I'm tired of having to like lower my prices or discount or do something to try and make this work for them.
Story of my life.
It's everybody's when you're getting started. And it's not just video. It's any like creative business, right? It's because you want to work so bad that you're willing to, but you can start to do things in the beginning, even through your videos, to show people like, hey, this is the way we do things. We're not budging on this, because the reason why we charge a higher value or a higher price is because we are building in that, contingency, I guess, to make sure that we cover everything that you need. You're not going to get charged any more though, either. That's the awesome part about it, is that this is the price. This is what it costs to do it.
And it covers
right now.
all overages.
Yeah, and because you know going into it about the level of work that it's going to take for pretty much everybody, regardless of the market that they're in, and you know that you're going to pretty much do like a similar thing for them, but the little bit extra that you would do here and there is not always going to be, it's not like we're like, I don't know. It's not like, because in some cases, like when we went out of town this weekend, we were only there for 3 days. Yeah. So it's getting done in 3 days either way. We're not going to like stay an extra day, right? So we got to figure out how to pivot and maximize our time. Yeah. But
let's say, like, for example, okay, so there are 3 different businesses that need help, right? They all have different problems. They all have a different scale of their own problem. And now, depending on their problem, how do you determine the price for their particular problem, if that made sense? Because some of them, I mean, I've even, some of the guys I've talked to, like, this was a $2,000 shoot. No, this was a $7,000 shoot. Now, this one was a $4,000 shoot. How do you determine that factor and to be able to cover, based on what their needs are?
Good question. And I think the best way to answer this is to reframe the way that you're thinking about it. Regardless of what their problem is, what's it worth to you to solve that problem for them? So let's say if you're legitimately solid in the verticals or the industries that those problems exist. Say you're me, you're a personal trainer, and you know a lot about the fitness industry, you have a lot of connections, you have a lot of resources, and this is a gym that has a multitude of problems that need to be solved. Being the expert that you are in that space, what is it worth to you to solve that problem, regardless of the problems? Say it's a ton of problems. Maybe it's only a couple of problems. But let's say it takes you a day to solve that problem. How much is that day worth to you? What if you knew that, maybe it's a day to do this part, but there's going to be about 7 days where I have to invest in research and post-production or whatever that is that's going to require. So now you're looking at 8 days of work. What's 8 days worth to you? So, like, doing what we're doing now, the number keeps going up. It was originally 10, then it's 15,000. Now it's 20,000. Actually, next time around, it's going to be 30 to 40,000 to solve this one business's content problems. But it's only 3 days of filming. Every $10,000 tacked on is to cover the cost of the time and energy mentally to solve their problems. We're going to be there with them for 3 days regardless. But what if an idea pops up? Are you going to charge more to shoot this extra piece of content for them? You're already there. The camera's there. It takes like 5 minutes to edit. It took 3 minutes to edit one at one point.
Wait, is that a cell phone video?
Yeah.
3 minutes to edit. I find that hard to believe.
Well, see, so this is what we got to break the beliefs of right here, because what's amazing, and especially like witnessed this weekend, is at some point somebody came into the room that wasn't originally in the plan. And right away, Kevin's first question was, wait, do you have some things that you kind of are repeating over and over again, some things that you could do? I'm skimming the conversation, right? This is paraphrasing a lot, but still, you could tell that there was a lot of value in her having something that she could use, right? And what he was doing, don't get too caught up in what he asked her. What I'm saying is what he was doing is he was already trying to figure out if there was something he could solve with a video. It may not have been, we're not thinking about cameras. We're not thinking about lights. Video. What? Hashtag with video. Yeah, we're not thinking about lights, cameras, anything at that point. We're just thinking, is this valuable? Is this going to be, because it doesn't always have to be tied to an ROI. Like we could talk about that, and you could talk about how you could build price based on value as far as like how much money you're going to make for them over time. But there's a lot of things when it comes to ROI that are just tied to like saving someone a lot of time. How much more can you do now that you don't have to, especially speaking back to the realtor video, if they can get on site and watch everything they need to know in a video and immediately they're like, I'm sold, I want this person. Now you don't have to go through that process on the phone every time. You can be having people book straight in right then. Like, wouldn't that save you a lot of time? What could you do at that time, right? How much would that be worth to you to be able to have that time back and not to just be talking to all these? And even we say qualify a lot, but disqualify too. There may be people that jump on there and go, oh, this is like a luxury realtor, I'm not looking for that. And then they're gone.
Yeah.
Now you didn't have to talk to them, right? They're going to go find the person that aligns with them.